G'day, Matt Heath.
G'day, Mike Lane.
Hey, listen, this is the Alternative Guide to series, Matt Heath. I've brought you in because you probably know less about stuff than I do.
Well, let's just say we equally know nothing.
Yeah, that's right.
Between us, we know nothing.
So that's right. So what we're going to do in this series, we're going to tackle subjects and topics that we think we should probably understand more. Often they're talked about in the media and socially as well, Matt. I mean, I don't know about you, but I've been caught around the barbecue and the water cooler a few times, and I just smile and nod.
Yeah.
Yeah,
no, there's a lot of misinformation around the barbecue, that's for sure.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
And a lot of me not listening.
Yeah, correct. So the idea of this series is that we will ask the stupid questions on the audience's behalf.
Good on us.
Yeah, good on. And we'll do the hard work and work on the theory. If we can understand it, then surely you can. And the area we're going to tackle first is a New Zealand obsession, and that is property, but more specifically, property as an investment option.
So what in order, in terms of New Zealand obsessions, it probably goes weather, property, sport?
Traffic. We're quite big on traffic.
Yeah, in Auckland.
Yeah.
But where I come from, down south, there is no traffic. So we just talk about the weather and property.
Weather, property, sport. That's probably right. But, the property investment market, according to ChatGPT, is worth $1.9 trillion in New Zealand. So we probably need to know more about it.
Wow.
Okay.
1.9 trillion.
Yes.
Wow.
Yeah. Okay.
Right.
So we'll get into it.
The Alternative Commentary Collective presents the Alternative Guide to everything you need to know about everything you should know about.
Okay, as mentioned, property. Matt Heath, you have one. I have one. We're on the ladder.
Yep.
So this chat is pretty relevant to us as we're talking property investment and what the hell that is. And how it's different to just owning a house. So we've called in some experts. Matt Heath, the great New Zealanders from Staircase have joined us. We have Liam and Christian from Staircase. Gentlemen, thanks for coming in.
No worries.
And
welcome.
Get ready
Thanks.
for the dumbest questions you'll ever receive. First up, the elevator pitch on who Staircase is, why we've got you in here as experts in terms of property investments. Why are you the experts? What qualifies you to educate Philistines like Matt Heath and myself, Christian?
Okay, I can do that. We're a team of 80 plus people.
Yep.
And I suppose we make property investment simple.
Yep.
You could call us a Swiss Army knife for property investors. And we bring together all of those services. So we have finance experts, we have property management, we have accounting, insurance advisors, right down to maintenance and landscapes and everything in between that you can think of. So we really, I suppose what you say is we make property selection easy, from finding your first investment property to getting your first rental payment through the door.
Excellent. So Matt Heath, he mentioned that his dad got him a Swiss Army knife. He could choose which implements he had on his Swiss Army knife. Is that similar to what Staircase does?
So you get the scissors, you get the tweezers, you get the toothpick, you get the little saw. What else have I got in there? I've got the little knife,
nail
I've got
scissors?
the big knife. There's little scissors. You could use them for nail scissors. There's a magnifying glass.
Great.
Yeah,
For burning ants.
yeah.
You sound like you got a good Swiss Army knife there.
That's a great Swiss Army knife. Thanks, Dad.
Yeah.
If you're listening.
No,
Got it
look,
for my birthday.
the great thing is our clients can choose some of our services or all of our services.
Right.
But we find that a lot of the time, most of the clients really just want the whole services. They really want that set and forget where they can, an investment just sits in the background, which is really where Staircase's expertise comes from. We can do all of those things, and you don't have to.
This one for you, Liam. Staircase, obviously the Swiss Army knife of property investment. But I mean, what makes Staircase so special then?
Well, what clients like about Staircase is it's a company that started almost 23 years ago by property investors. We want to make that process easier for clients, but we're trying to help everyday Kiwis get ahead financially. So, we manage that process from start to finish, from helping the clients buy the rental property to getting it set up and managing it.
Yep.
Over the years we've been in business, we've generated almost $2 billion of wealth for our clients across their portfolios, their property portfolios. So we've really built a reputation on being in it for the long haul.
Yeah.
Being able to help clients navigate market changes, navigate the property market. There's a lot of changes that do happen, and we've been through a variety of cycles. So a lot of clients like the fact that we have that, and we can help them deliver.
Oh, wicked. So, okay, so that's Staircase. That's you guys. That's why we've got you in to explain to Matt, Heath, and I. Step back a bit and talk about property investment. Like, just go back. What actually is property investment? Because I've got a property, but I don't feel like I'm a property investor. I'm probably not. It's just a family home at the moment.
Yeah.
What is it?
I would be the same thing. I've got a house that I live in.
Yeah.
But it's more of a human storage facility than than a sort of investment at this stage.
Yeah. Well, property investment involves buying real estate to earn an income or make a profit in the future. So, it is a term we throw around a lot. It's we have a love affair with it.
Yeah.
So for most people, we buy property for an investment with the objective to hold it for a long period of time and either make a profit or earn that income on it. So, and that you can go down multiple paths with property investment. You can go commercial, you can go residential. Where we typically focus is residential. So, and there's a whole broad topic in that space.
Sweet. So, look, I mean, what you're talking about here, because back in the boom days, people were flipping properties left, right, and centre. You'd hear stories of people buying a property, sitting on it for 2 months, selling it next month for a couple $100,000 more. And for me, I was just like that. I was totally out of my realm because it was people just flipping houses every. You're not talking about this, are you? You're talking long-term investment.
Yeah. So I guess what clients like is that, for property investment, you're in it for the long haul. Yeah. Right. So the idea behind it isn't for a lot of our clients, isn't just to buy and flip properties. It's to stick to it for 10, 15 years. Hold a property, structure it well, and reap the rewards that come by holding these assets long term.
Right. Okay, so you're talking kind of property to rent? That's the goal?
So you got a property that you live in, and we're talking about another property that you're renting out.
Why is a rental so good? Why is that a good option?
Well, I think with a rental property, the fact is it's real, isn't it? It's tangible, you can see it, you can drive past it if you want, whatever your fancy is. But the great thing is the banks are happy to lend you the money to buy it, which is really important.
Yeah, because the banks aren't giving you money to go and buy shares.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And so when people think about can they actually afford it, well, actually as an asset class, the banks are going to lend you the money to buy it. So that's really reassuring. And what's good is, you can expect from a rental perspective a steady income over time. But what's really encouraging is you're going to get the return on the growth of the property, not just the small portion that you're paying for. So, that from an investment perspective, it ticks both boxes.
So, okay, getting a rental, I find it hard enough at the moment running my own house and the maintenance on my own house, whether it be a door that falls off, the kid's sliding door, whether it be... today someone's hanging a TV in my house and God knows what he's doing in my wife's undies drawer. But how do you manage that? Because for me, I'd freak out because if I'm going to invest in a rental property, I don't think I've got the mental capacity to manage that.
Or the time.
Yeah.
Look, I'm all too familiar with that when I meet clients. Often, people are really time poor, let's face it. Yeah. Busy life, other commitments and so forth. So like you said, thinking about getting into investment property almost seems an impossible task, right? Wouldn't you say?
For me at the moment, I'm like, I'm too busy. Can't deal with it. I don't want to call at 2 a.m. that the dryer's broken. That kind of stuff.
No, who wants to, right? And most people are too busy. So I suppose that's, when you think about Staircase, that's why we exist really, to do all of the heavy lifting so that you don't have to. So we bring all of those services together under one roof. So ultimately, it makes us more able to do all of those things, have all of the professional expertise, and you can carry on with your busy lifestyle, and you don't have to literally stop your life to do it because it sits in the background and works for you.
So you get this right, Liam. You'll do everything from the start. So you will find me a property.
Yeah. So I guess where we start is
so hang on a minute. We just come to you right at the very start and say the only thing that we've got in our mind when we come in is that we're interested in getting into property investment.
Correct. Yeah. So if you've made that decision,
We don't have a place in mind or anything yet.
No. So if you've made the decision, you want to get
Yeah.
into property investment, and whatever reason that is, let's say you want to build a bit of wealth for retirement, you
Yeah.
want to help the little kids that you're raising in your family. You've got this idea that you want to use property as a way to build wealth. So from there, you need to figure out, one, what is your current situation? Do you have the capacity to purchase another investment property or to purchase a investment property? So if we start there, we've worked out your situation. Now it's a bit of a journey to understand, where do I find a rental property? What's a good rental property? What does that look like?
Yeah.
And then that whole process of setting it up and managing it and making sure that you've set it up for the long term. So, we build I think the most important thing is building a team around you. And you guys will know this being in the sporting space, but, to deliver results, you want to have a good team behind you. So, that's what we bring to the table is, having the property consultants, having the right mortgage brokers to get the lending, using an accountant to structure the property, and then having a property manager to make sure that you've got a good tenant in there and it's driving results for the long term.
So you're telling me I don't have to go to an open home?
No.
Because if I have to go to another open home, it's the only reason I actually own a home now, because I was sick of going to open homes every weekend and sacrificing my weekends to get punished around another open home. And I basically bought this place we're in now because I couldn't deal with any more open homes. So if you are saving me a weekend of going around open homes and all of that logistics around the real estate agents and stuff like that, do we still have to deal with them?
And also, can I just jump in here and say, I don't want to be at another auction either.
No. Those are some stressful things. I think the big difference between buying a property for an investment is you're separating an emotional decision versus a financial decision.
Right.
So, you're going to auctions, you're going to open homes, you're trying to figure out what kind of property you want to live in. When we look at investment property, we're trying to make a decision based on the numbers. We want to make sure that the property you're buying, you can afford to own that. You can afford to see how that's going to perform over time, and we'll help project that for you guys. So if you're looking at a rental property, we're going to help you run those numbers, work out what costs are involved, what income you'll generate, so you can go into it or navigate that with a bit more confidence.
Because then you go around to look at properties, just to go back to this this whole open home thing, and you go in and you see a house and you go, this is a great house, it's in the area, and then your missus goes, but the kitchen is only 1 acre in size, and there's no way I can cook in here unless I have like a 3 football sized bench and a 4,000 litre sink. And you go, what? That's the best house I've ever seen. And then you have an argument in the car on the way home. And then you go, what are we even trying to do here? How rich do you think I am? All these things.
This is pretty much, you described my my weekends for about 6 months. So but that's quite right. You've got to remove that emotional element. If it's just purely about investment, then you've got to park it, because I've only ever looked at property from that emotional point of view and going, we can put a backyard pitch there. I can see my garage. I can see a brewery in that garage. For me, it's always been that.
That's the other side of it. It's like this garage, this driveway, it's great.
Yeah.
And what's so great about the driveway? Well, it's straight, and it's
I can get some pace up. It's slightly downhill as well.
I can run in off get a long run up from across the road.
Yeah.
Just on that note, we had a customer recently, and one of the things they had an investment property in Manureira, and it was an old property. It was a bit of a nightmare, to be fair. There was lots of maintenance. And when I was presenting the numbers, because it is a financial investment, right?
Yeah.
And her husband was there, and we were going through the numbers. I said, look, which one makes sense on the numbers? And she pointed to the Manureira one, and she said, oh, I want that one because I can drive past it. And I'm like, but can you afford those numbers? Like, does that really make sense to you? Oh, no, but I really want to drive past it. It's like, do you see that emotional thing, which is what you were talking about? It's quite frightening, because actually, looking at the sink alone, really that's what you want. But actually investors, tenants, they just want to be close to all of those things like amenities, schools, shops. Yeah. So they're going to think differently to the emotional aspect of a potential homeowner who wants to buy a new home.
Yeah, no, I think it's a pretty good point, because for the longest time, a property has always been an emotional purchase for forever. Like, I don't know, and to maybe treat it the same as you would treat, say, buying shares in Fonterra. or whatever. You know what I mean? There's no emotional attachment to buying shares in Auckland Airport or an Infratel or something like that. Yet with property, we have emotional.
You could potentially never set foot in the property.
That's right. I mean, we've got clients that we've discussed, about the numbers and the fact that the walls are blue and the carpets are brown and all that sort of stuff. But ultimately, they're never going to live in it. If they drive past it, hey, look, it's tangible, right? You can see it, and that's all great. You can drive past it. You can fall in love with it if you like.
Yeah.
But ultimately, you're not going to live in it. And you should never think of an investment property as if you're going to live in it, because then you're bringing that emotional aspect again into it. It's really got to be more about the fact that, is it going to do what's written on the tin? Is it going to make the money that we're projecting it will? And also, are tenants happy to live there?
Yeah.
Because they're your customer ultimately.
Yeah.
So it's got all the bits that it needs to make a tenant pay what you need them to pay, and for it to increase in value to the point that it's worth you being involved in it, really.
Absolutely. Because you wouldn't, whilst you might love a property emotionally because it fits your criteria, it doesn't necessarily make it a great rental investment.
So, Christian, who are your clients? How do you get onto Staircase's list?
Well, the good thing is, guys, you don't have to have gone to Oxford, Cambridge, or even Harvard to become a property investor, right? Many of our clients are really just first-time investors looking to get into their first property, or even those investors who want to expand their portfolio, really.
Yeah.
I think the thing with property investment is that it can often seem a bit daunting, but it's actually as easy as booking a meeting with one of our team.
Yeah.
And then, we pretty much have a saying that you don't have to be wealthy to invest, but you do have to invest to be wealthy. So it's really important for people to understand what's possible. A lot of people just think, I can't do it. And then, one, they don't become a client, right?
Yeah.
First of all, because they're sitting there going, it's not possible.
Yeah.
But it's because they haven't really explored the idea. But what makes it great is that they can come and meet with the team, and as we go through what's possible, they can see actually it is really something open to me. They just haven't explored it properly.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, it sort of brings to mind, talking about explore it properly, so I've got a digestive issue at the moment.
Yes.
And I think I need to look deep into some myself, but I can't do that.
Yeah.
So I go to a clinic, and then they put a camera down my throat and one up the behind.
Oh.
But so I go to them because I can't do it. I go,
they're experts.
how am I going to solve this problem?
Yeah.
I go to someone else to do it.
So how are you going to solve your long-term wealth problem? Go to Staircase. There you go.
How am I going to solve my terrible digestive system? I'll go to some different people.
Yeah. I mean, it is. I mean, ultimately, that you've nailed it, right? I think what people tend to do is they go in and they go, right, I'm going to try and save money, and I'm going to do this myself, right?
Yes.
And then they go and find some free information, right, from someone who's not qualified.
Google it.
So you wouldn't have gone to get a camera up without knowing that he was qualified.
I offered.
Well, I asked my partner to do it. She wouldn't.
No.
She said she wasn't qualified. Okay.
That's right. That's right. So, free information is pretty dangerous, right? That's why you go to the professionals.
Yeah, that's right. So don't try and do it yourself. That's what we're trying to say.
Don't try and do it with your phone.
You've created a terrible picture for me now, I'm telling you. You really have.
Liam, in good old-fashioned Kiwi attitude, what's stopping me doing it myself?
There's nothing stopping you from doing it yourself, Mike. It's many people do. I think we've talked a bit about some of the stress that can be caused from it, the time-consuming element to it. I think that another big part of it is there's typically a lot at stake when you're buying investment property. So you think about the time you purchased your first home. The juices were flowing. You probably had an auction where things are getting a bit heated. So
it becomes personal. It does.
It does become personal.
And if you're someone who's competitive, like myself and Matt, you don't. It starts to get out of control. You're like, how dare that? He's challenging my masculinity by outbidding me, and you end up in all sorts of trouble.
You end up in a bidding war with some neighbours that the owner of the house is invited down to create a fake bidding war.
Correct.
Exactly.
Correct.
So so you know what? I mean, you can do it yourself, but if you're navigating the property market and a big decision like this that's going to set you up for a long time, I think having a team behind you that knows what they're doing, they have the experience, leverage off that, so you can make a decision and go into it with a bit more confidence is ultimately going to help you make that decision, because Often if you try and do it yourself, you can lead to that point of actually not doing it. We've all sat on Trade Me at the end of the night and looked at properties, asked ourselves, is that a good investment property? But, actually being able to take action, actually being able to look at a property with the idea to purchase it for a rental is another part. And that's where we can really help. So,
And you think about this stuff full time as opposed to just in the evening when you're really shagged after work.
Yeah.
yeah.
And you're a bottle of wine deep.
This is actually quantifiably a good option here.
Also, and also I think bringing in people like yourselves, obviously, we've talked about it, about the emotion, takes it out of it, almost becomes a bit more transactional, and becomes an investment rather than, doing it yourself, where you're more likely to get caught into the fact that it's got a good backyard for a backyard cricket, or your kids might like it when they grow up. Whereas you go into the experts, you guys go, no, this is the best option for you, for your return, for your long-term, for rental, everything else.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. So, it's important to recognise that it is an investment. It is a financial decision. Maybe that property with the backyard would be fun for your teenagers once they grow up and they do move in there, but that's probably not the best investment.
No.
So, we've got to look at it a different way and really coordinate that with you guys. So.
Yeah, perfect. That's because I need someone to say that to me. I don't make you mad. I need someone to say, no, it's a dumb idea. Otherwise, I'll end up going and doing it myself.
No, I'm happy to hand over responsibility and decision making if I can.
Yeah.
What are some of the biggest misconceptions when it comes to property investments? Like, I mean, for me, it was a little bit daunting, maybe mainly due to the time restraints. But is there extra tax implications? Like, what are these misconceptions that would put me off?
Yeah, I think one of the misconceptions we typically see from people is they think you have to be extremely wealthy to invest, or that you need to come to the table with a large sum of money.
Yep.
So what we typically find is that, and something we'll talk about in the next episode, is how you can use the equity in your home or the value in your home to purchase a rental property.
Yep.
So the reality is, property investment actually can be a bit more accessible than most people think. I think, as you're in your own home, you're paying all these costs, you're paying a large mortgage, so it's hard to recognize, how owning another property can actually be quite manageable and affordable.
Yeah.
And that's really where it comes down to, understanding a few things, like one, how you structure an investment property versus your own home, how you manage the costs, and really understanding that the rent that you earn on it does cover the majority of those costs. So owning a rental property does actually become a lot more manageable than most people think.
Yeah.
I think what we're really talking about here today is that we are dealing with new build properties.
Okay.
We talked about not having to go see the property and things like that, but we are dealing with a lot of our clients don't want the headaches that you've mentioned. They want to deal with a property that.
So we're not talking the old villa that's next door that's old and a leaker. No,
exactly. So
Okay.
we're trying to look. A lot of our clients want a bit of a set and forget approach to property investment. And that's what you typically get with new builds. You get a brand new property.
Yeah.
It's designed in an up and coming area that's suitable for tenants to live, work, and play. And they're built well. With the building code. So there tends to be less issues that you might find with like an existing property.
Okay.
What I'd want to confirm if I'm investing in another property is that my son never finds out about it until later on, because you can imagine that pressure.
Yep.
Dad, can me and my mates flat in that? I've heard you've got a property. We've got another place, haven't we, Dad? Why can't me and my 10 mates move in there?
You don't want that nightmare. It is a nightmare as well, because we've seen it with the existing clients where they've got the investment property. They may have, we've successfully rented it out, and then obviously the son or daughter's grown up and said, "Hey, great opportunity. We can live somewhere and pay nothing."
Yeah, and then they ring up and say, "Hey, we're going to the Goldie this weekend, so I can't cover the rent. Sorry, this week, Dad."
Yeah.
And you go, right, okay.
I can see what's happening.
I wish you didn't know about this place.
Exactly.
Hey,
until I pass and you saw it in the will and went, "Thanks, Dad."
Christian, is it even a good time to buy? When do you know? What's going on there?
Well, people often are trying to find exactly the right time to invest in the property market. But ultimately, I suppose if you're doing this long term, yesterday was a good time to invest.
Yeah.
But most people, and most Kiwis, realise that property is cyclical. Right now, we're seeing an increase in sales volumes, which means price increases usually follow.
Yeah.
So what we're also experiencing is interest rates easing, which means really ultimately we're hitting a cyclical sweet spot. So, crack into it.
Okay. Well, you've convinced me. So we got to the basics of property investment. I've kind of it's cleared my mind a little bit, and you've eased my I don't know, my tension a little bit on how hard it can be. Because, like I said, time's an issue for me.
Yeah.
If you guys can solve that, tick. The next part that is a challenge for me is the financing of it. And Liam, you touched on it and saying, the current house that I'm in, I can potentially leverage that. Now, in the next episode, you just teased that potentially.
Nice tease.
Yeah, you teased potentially that I could buy an investment property with potentially no deposit.
Yeah. So we'll talk about this. We talk about this in the next episode. But I guess to explain, I mentioned equity.
Yeah,
and it is a term that we throw around a fair bit. Equity is the difference between the value in your home and your mortgage.
Yeah.
So what you have left. So for example, if you have a home worth $1 million, you've got a mortgage worth $500K on it. You've got $500,000 of equity in there. Now you can use that as a portion to purchase another investment property. So the bank is willing to borrow the full amount of that new property based on that equity that you've got in there.
Right. Okay. Well, so in the next step, we'll go deep into that, because that's probably a massive roadblock for a lot of people, because I'm very cash poor.
Yeah.
There is no money left in my bank. Out about you, Matt Heath. It's mainly spent over the road at the Empire. Any sort of spare cash.
Yeah. I'm so cash poor, as you guys often point out. I just don't seem to get to my round. I just don't. I'm just so cash poor.
That's a tragedy.
And I just really wish that I was more able to invest in your guys' beers as much as you invest in mine.
Well, a good point we were talking about why now is a good time to invest in property. I think another thing to remember is that where we're at in the market is prices have come down. It's like when you go out shopping, if everything was on discount, things would be a bit more appealing to purchase. So since the peak in 2021, prices have come down almost about national average about 13.5%. So what we've got is a situation where prices are lower, interest rates are lower, so investment's more affordable. And that indicates that there's a positive outlook for where the cycle is at now.
Yeah, cool. Okay, so I think what we've dealt with also is to park the emotional side of things, which right. Kiwis are very, including myself and Matt, are very. That's been our property journey, has been purely based on emotion. Park that for now. Yep. Next episode, I want to get into probably the curliest bit, and that is the financials. So you touched on you can get it without a deposit. That interests me, of course, and we'll get into some of the other more kind of juicier bits of how you make it work financially. So stick around. You're sticking around, Liam. Christian, I think you've got an appointment elsewhere.
Great.
So I'm going to get.
Well, no,
we're going to get Karen in. But thanks for joining us,
no
Christian.
problem.
Am I sticking around?
Yeah, you're sticking around. You're
right,
nowhere.
good.
But join us for
great.
episode 2, where we get into the financials of property investment with our mates from Staircase.
The Alternative Commentary Collective presents the Alternative Guide to Everything You Need to Know About Everything You Should Know About.